welcome back. Of course, I'm still here in the studio with you. And in case you're just joining us, it's Hello Africa on Clearview Television. And then before we went on the musical interlude, I told you that we have a very, very wonderful person in the house, a guest who is ready to answer all your questions on security. And he's right here. We have AIG David Igbodo, retired. And you're welcome on the program, sir.
Thank you very much. Pleasure. Yeah.
All right, welcome, sir. Now we are looking at enlightenment of Nigerians on a separate roles of security agencies in Nigeria. Sir, what are the separate roles of the different agencies in Nigeria?
Well, thank you very much. My background is that of the police. I did the police job for 35 years, retired, and I'm now on my own. I'm in legal practice because I'm a lawyer.
Okay, wow.
I also have a foundation which is called the Triple Justice Foundation.
Yes.
We are trying to see how we can balance justice. Justice to the defendant, justice to the society, and justice to the victim of crime. But that's a different thing entirely. So I'm from the police background. There are quite different numbers of security agencies in Nigeria. Some are for internal security, others are for external security. The military precisely is responsible for warding off external aggression.
Okay.
But the police is the lead internal security agencies that is responsible for the protection of life and property, maintenance of law and order. You also have other security agencies. Like I told you, police is the lead internal security agency, but you have other security agencies that deals with internal security, like the Civil Defense Corps.
Okay.
You have the Immigration Services.
Okay.
You also have where the custom is mainly principally for generation of revenue and all that, custom duties and all that. But like I said, the leaving that of the police now, come back to the police proper, which is the lead security agency. The civil defense, was when it was created, to deal with issues relating to pipeline vandalizations, issues relating to they wanted to bridge that gap between the society and the police, and they said they were not going to be armed. Well, it's a different thing, and now they are being armed and all that. And you have the immigration that has to deal with security at the border to make sure that persons that are not supposed, that don't have the necessary documentations, are not allowed into the country. So that is the issue. But the police, like I said, is the lead security agency.
Okay.
It is responsible for making sure that you and I move freely on the street.
Okay.
It is responsible for making sure that those who commit crime are arrested, investigated, and prosecuted. That is their core duty. And what makes a meaningful society is ability of the police to ensure the performance of their duties, protection of life and property, and maintenance of law and order. And the police, to a very large extent, how far the police has done that duty, is a different thing entirely, and that is why I'm coming back to the issue I'm driving. After doing the police job for 35 years, I saw the challenges of the Nigerian police force. The police has the zeal to maintain law and order. They have the zeal to make sure that those who commit crime are punished. So, but I look at it, I saw the challenges, and I came up with this idea of Triple Justice Foundation. The Triple Justice Foundation, like I was trying to explain, simply is to make sure that justice, like Justice Oputa said in Josiah versus the State, is that justice is a three-way traffic.
Okay.
Justice for the society, justice for the person that stole the property, and justice for the person that stole the property. So if justice is
justice for the society, justice for the person that stole the property,
and justice for the person that stole the property. Until you're able to mete out justice to these three supposed recipients of justice, we will not say there's a justice of any any incident. For instance, if I steal your phone, you will not say to have justice until the police, the security agencies recover your phone and hand over the phone to you. The person who stole the phone also must be arrested, investigated, and punished. But the key issue is that what we're also advocating is that why making that arrest? Why ensuring that the person who stole the phone is investigated and punished? His fundamental human right must be respected. Okay. He must be given access to his lawyers. He must be kept clean. He must be given food 3 times a day. Because he's presumed innocent until the contrary is proved. So that is justice. Then you must also not let loose the person that stole the property back to the society, because it has a spiral effect. You go back to the society, steal more phone and all that. So we are trying to balance justice in the society.
All right. Thank you very much, sir. Can you briefly tell us the relationship between the police and other security agencies?
Cooperation and collaboration is very, very important in every human endeavor. The police, like the current Inspector General of Police, has the spirit of collaborating with other security agencies. I want to give an example of just this last election, the presidential and National Assembly elections that just took place. You see, the police work closely with other security agencies. They work with immigration, they work with customs, they work with civil defense. All of them were in the same space, the same election space, trying to make sure that people do not snatch ballot boxes, trying to make sure that the people's vote are protected, trying to make sure that people do not sell their vote while the vote is going on, trying to make sure that people do not come to the polling units and begin to campaign. So there is a close collaboration between the Nigerian police force and other security agencies. And in any human endeavor, if the police is working alone, the civil defense is working alone, the immigration that are working alone, different from what the police is doing, there will not be collaboration. They will not be able to share intelligence. So that spirit of working together, being together in the policing space, is very, very important for an effective and efficient enforcement of law and order.
All right, sir, at what level do you allow the police to come in election or any other civil disturbances? At what point do you allow them to come in?
At what point do you allow the police to come in during an election?
Yeah.
Like the function of the police, the duties of the police are specified in Section 4 of the Police Act, is, like I said, protection of life and property. Ordinarily speaking, election is an event. But because it is a special event, the police has to put more effort in making sure that the election is without violence. And when election is marred with violence, it causes a whole lot of problem in the system. So the police in elections are supposed to be involved at the polling units, making sure that the ballot boxes and ballot papers are protected. They also have to make sure that people that are, like on election days, they say there's, restriction of movement and all that. The police has to be on patrol. In the polling unit, the police are not armed. But on the street, they have to be armed, so that people who are armed trying to come to the polling units or polling stations to come and hijack ballot boxes are equally dealt with. You saw what happened in some instances, like in Lagos and in Port Harcourt, where people came, set ballot boxes ablaze, threatened people, chased people away from. But from the observers that observed the last election, the police performance during this last presidential and the National Assembly election was quite very, very good. I have to give commendation to the IG. I know yesterday he had another meeting with his management team. They are doing well. They want to make sure that the governorship and houses of assembly election will also go scot-free. It's not like there won't be crime. All over the world, you have crime everywhere, but ability of the police to respond when it occurs is what makes the difference between different police forces.
All right, sir. You mentioned that the police at the polling units are not armed.
They are not armed.
Why are they not armed at the polling units?
Well, it is important that you know, in an election, you don't have to militarize election. If you militarize election, you will scare the voters. You know, some people don't want to see arms. So when you militarize an election, it has the capacity and the propensity to drive away voters. So when they see people that are armed and the polling unit, they might not want to come to the polling unit to cast their vote and all that. So the purpose mainly is to make sure that it's a civil process, it is not militarized, and everybody is very free to come to the polling unit to cast their votes.
Okay. All right. So what are the differences between the regular police and then the mobile police? What are the differences?
Well, when the mobile police was initially established, they're all members of the same organization, the Nigerian Police Force. But you have units. You have the conventional police unit, the people you see perhaps guiding on regular patrols. The mobile police force is a specialized unit that is trained, specially trained to respond to specific situations. Okay. You know, virtually all of them are armed when they're on duty. They're supposed to be out there to quell riot. They're supposed to be there to respond to, you know, some special issues. Like if you see the incident at the BH in the northeast, you know, the PMF, what is called the Police Mobile Force, are the ones that are collaborating with the military in the northeast and are working together, making sure that you know, the insurgency in the northeast is brought to zero. And you know, the president has done well in the northeast now. There is no local government that is under occupation by the Boko Haram insurgency and all that, and the police is very much involved in the fight against insurgency in the northeast.
All right, thank you very much, sir. And then we still have so much questions to ask the AIG of Police, retired David Igbodo. I hope I'm pronouncing that name very well.
Yeah, fine. It's okay. It's perfect. David Igbodo is my name. Yeah.
All right. And for now, we'll be going on a very short musical interlude. And when we come back, we will be opening our phone lines where you have to call in, make your contributions, or ask him questions about the police and every other thing about security you would want to know. So stay with us, don't go anywhere, we'll be right back.
Hey, my guy, how far now? I say make I remind you, say you know, say tomorrow na tomorrow we won't go mess up the election. Na tomorrow we won't go destroy everywhere. Guns day, cutlass day, bottles day, everything dey scatter everywhere. I swear.
Solo. So you are planning to disrupt election and still ballot. How much did chief pay you to do this thing you are doing? How much? Tell me.
Millions, dollars.
Millions, dollars compared to your life. Solomon. Chief has 3 children. Solo, 3 good children. Shegun is in Canada. Ola is in Australia. Sheyi is in the US. Why did Chief give his children the millions to do what you are about to do?
Of course, Chief is wise. His children, not you, deserve every protection. Be wise.
And welcome back. It's Hello Africa. In case you're just joining us, and we've been talking about the enlightenment on the separate roles of security agencies. And with me in the studio is AIG of Police, David Igbodo, retired, of course, and he has been answering some of the questions I've been asking here. And right now, our phone lines are open, so you also can call. Ask questions you don't understand. Ask what you think about the police force or about the Nigerian security agencies generally. And I'm very sure he's ready to answer all your questions. And of course, sir, police qualified to handle robbery cases. So therefore, is SARS not a duplication of assignments?
What do you mean by duplication? The SARS, what we call the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, is an arm of the police force that was established to deal with armed robbery cases. So it's not a duplication. It's police officers that are in SARS are the ones that are doing that are dealing with the robbery cases, wherever they occur, and you have them all over the state. But what this current IG has done is to streamline the operations of the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, to make sure that the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, as they operate in states, are answerable to the commissioners of police of the state. So it's not a duplication. It's basically police functions that the Special Anti-Robbery Squad is doing, and there are police officers. So.
Well, I asked that question because most times it appears as if the SARS are on their own, like they are operating differently apart from the police.
No. SARS is not different. It's still an arm of it's still a unit in the Nigerian police force. In the state, the Special Anti-Robbery Squad, that's what this current IG has done, and he has done very well in that regard. What he has done is to make sure that the various Special Anti-Robbery Squads in the state are squarely under the control of the commissioners of police, so that just for the purposes of supervision. In the first headquarters here, the Federal Special Anti-Robbery Squad is under the DIG Intelligence and Investigation. So it's not a duplication. They're just police officers doing police job. But there might be some one or two issues, and each time those issues occur, the IG has a way of investigating and dealing with erring officers.
Okay. This your answer also remind me of for youthful digression, of course. It reminds me of EFCC and ICPC. Both are anti-graft agencies. Don't you think they are also like duplication of assignments?
Well, you see, in every human endeavor, there is need for this specialization. I think that's what the federal government tried to do in the creation of the Economic and Financial Crime Commission and Independent and Corrupt Practices Commission and all that, ICPC and all that. So it is just for the purpose of making sure that when a crime is becoming a little bit disturbing, the federal government has to take a measure to make sure they deal with the issue as they arise. So for me, where the police is also investigating white collar crimes, just like economic and financial crimes and all that. The establishment of the ICPC and EFCC does not in any way remove the power of the police to investigate economic crimes. So that's why you still have the special fraud unit of the Nigerian police force that is in Lagos, and you also have them in the 4 CID, that is the Intelligence and Investigation Department of the Nigerian Police Force. So for me, it might be better for us for purpose of specialization and all that. The police is also specializing along that line. The purpose of actually why they established the ICPC and EFCC, maybe they felt the police was not doing good enough in the area of fighting economic crime, and they decided to establish those things to actually deal with it. That was the reason. But the police has upped their games. They are now doing very well in investigation of economic crimes.
All right, and then to talk a little about the relationship between the police force and then the Nigerian Peace Corps. It seems all it's not where. What are the conflicting areas?
There's no conflict. The Peace Corps has not been promulgated into law. Has not been. They went to the National Assembly to establish the Peace Corps. The National Assembly passed the bill, sent it to the president for assent, but the president turned it down. So there's no conflict. You cannot be in conflict with nothing. So the police cannot be in conflict with the Peace Corps that does not exist, as a matter of fact.
Well, because it's been making like on the news, on social medias, you see some posts like the police and the Peace Corps are like not in not being good terms.
The police is just trying to regulate, the in quote now, maybe trying to make sure that people that are not supposed to be in the business of security are not in the business of security, in the interest of the public. That's what the police was just doing. The police is not in conflict with anybody. If the federal government enact the Peace Corps Act today, the police will allow them to operate. But today, as it is, the Peace Corps has not been enacted into an act. So until it happens, you cannot say the police is in conflict, but you cannot be in conflict with nothing. You can't just be fighting the air.
And then earlier you made mention of the police duty of protecting lives and property. And then in some cases, and like you've heard, like some Nigerians have claimed, like they were in maybe difficult situations, like maybe their house being burgled, and you put a call across to the police and they never show up until maybe the evil is being done, and then they come up maybe later when everything is settled. What can you say about that?
Well, the public is free to make whatever allegation they want to make, and when those allegations come to the Inspector General of Police, he will usually act to correct those shortcomings. But what I know is that the police, they try as much as possible, despite all odds, the issue of logistics. They try as much as possible to respond to distress calls. You have a lot of patrols in Abuja, for instance. They give their numbers to the number of control room to this that are circulated, so that if there is any incident that is happening around you, just call the police. The police will, as much as possible, within the limit of the logistics available to them, respond to those distress calls. Well, the situation in Nigeria, the issue of, for instance, Abuja is a wide place. There are some people that are staying in very remote areas, and maybe when they call, it will take police time before they get to that place, because of the issue of we are not yet as developed as like US or UK. Even if you are using Google now, you want to go to the location, but things are not really working the way they should be. But the federal government is doing everything they can to make sure that the environment is conducive for policing. And once the environment is conducive for policing, the CCTV is there will be enough vehicles, enough trained manpower. They'll be able to respond to issues and all that. I think this current regime is trying to reduce the response to distress calls to less than 5%, and that is very good.
All right, sir. And I would also want you to quickly maybe give a clear or separation to separate the police job from the road safety corps, because like sometimes I get confused when you're on the highway. I don't know if it's also the responsibility of the police force to check vehicle documents and things. Are they working together? Are they like doing the same job with the road safety corps?
I want to say that it's just complementing each other. For instance, when you see the police that is checking vehicle particulars on the road, and you drive past there and you see the road safety also stop you, they want to check your particulars, you are surprised. Say, why are the police doing that? The road safety is also doing that. You've forgotten that the police is the responsibility of the police, the primary duty of the police is protection of life and property, enforcement of law. If, for instance, the police has information that a vehicle has been stolen, and they have to stop vehicles that are moving on the road to make sure that the person that is driving the vehicle is the actual owner of the vehicle. If the police do not check the vehicle particulars, how would you know the owner of the vehicle? So people shouldn't be surprised. They should understand that security is a difficult task, and they have to understand what the police is doing and what the road safety is doing. The road safety is an establishment of the law. They have to be allowed to do their job. The police is also doing their job. They have to be allowed to do their job. There could be some intervening processes here and there, but they are all working. There is no conflict. The police doing traffic. For instance, you get to a traffic point, you see a police officer, the traffic officer controlling traffic. You also get another point, it is the road safety that is controlling traffic. They are doing their job. The police is to maintain law and order. And when at a particular traffic point there is a congestion, the police has to get there to maintain law and order, to make sure that there is there's no disorder.
All right, so before we round up on this segment, I would also want to, ask a question on there is this trend of the police that if a crime happened in a particular area and they go there and investigate, the next thing, like, they come and take the young people they see around, whether you are guilty or you are not guilty. Everybody at that point, if you are not careful and you are found outside, you are a suspect at that moment. And I've witnessed it. It has happened several times in my area. Like, you just see some people just sitting, that this person is not among whatever have happened, but then you see the police come and then take a bunch of youths that were just sitting outside there. I've seen that. So what can you say on that?
Well, I'm not trying to defend anybody, but the job of detection of crime is actually very, very difficult. When a crime occurs, it is the responsibility of the police to detect that crime. And in the crime in which we work, we don't have the CCTV to ease investigation. So the first thing you do, for instance, if maybe for instance they tell you that something has happened in a particular location and you get to that place, you have the right to ask questions. But in asking questions, do not torture the people. Don't maltreat them. Just ask questions. Make sure you don't subject them to inhuman treatment. There's nothing wrong in asking people questions, bringing them together. It is not each occasion that you bring them together that you are arresting them. It is only when the police, get these people together, take them to police station and begin to collect money for them for bail and the rest of the stuff, when they know that they didn't commit that offense. But like I said, the recent police management team, the current Inspector General of Police, and the previous police management team, like for the past 5-7 years, they've been doing their best to make sure that bail is free. When you arrest people and you bring them to police station, ask them questions. If they are not involved, release them on bail. Bail is free. They have been singing it, they have been shouting it, they have been writing about it, they have been advertising it, and the rest of the stuff. And if an offense is a bailable offense, the Constitution allows you to keep a person only within 24 hours. In most cases, 48 hours if the court is not within 40-kilometer radius. So if you arrest somebody for bailable offenses, you grant him bail. Yeah.
Hello. Okay.
So if you arrest people that for bailable offenses like stealing and all that, you have the capital offenses and non-capital offenses. The non-capital offenses, the bailable offenses, you don't have to keep them within more than 48 hours. And when you are releasing them on bail, you don't have to collect money from them. You don't have to collect money from them because bail is free. And you don't torture them, you don't maltreat them, you don't extract confessional statement from them.
All right, and then, sir, while you were trying to answer me, you made mention of something that the police force really need, which is the CCTV. Is there any arrangement, is there any plan in place for the government to assist, or having all those CCTV put in place in strategic areas to be able to detect crimes?
Yeah, the police or the federal government started it about 3-4 years ago. That is the CCTV project in Abuja. The thing ran into a problem for what reason I don't know. But the police, as it is security is very expensive. It's quite very, very expensive. The federal government cannot fund the police alone. So that is why the police trust fund that is currently pending before the National Assembly is being pursued very seriously. So that by the time that police trust fund is enacted into law, it will expose the police to more funding to enable them, have money to, install CCTV in so many places. And it is not only the duty of the police to have this CCTV installed. If you go to some civilized societies, like even in Dubai here, and several other countries, before you operate a public place, one of the conditions before they license you is to make sure that you install your CCTV in your place. The incident that happened in Boston, I think in 2013 or 2014, I don't remember the year precisely, where there is this pressure pot bombing, where this marathon bombing in Boston, USA. The police was able to detect that crime from examining private individual CCTV in a restaurant where those people entered and the rest. So they examined the CCTV recording, and that was where they were able to detect it. So it is not only the government that should install CCTV in public places. If those that have restaurants, those that have parks, they should be able to install their private CCTV in those places. It will help them. So when an incident happens, the police will approach them, look at the CCTV that was installed, examine it. It could lead in investigation of a crime. So the government is doing more. This current IG is doing everything possible, is chasing the police trust fund to make sure that the CCTV is installed, because it will help the police very, very well.
All right, thank you very, very much, sir, for your time. And then before we go, I would also want to maybe to just talk a little to those people who are watching at home, tell them what they also can do to assist the police in doing their job for ease of job.
You see, policing is, or security is everybody's business. Security is no one's business. Security is that of the police, is also that of members of the public. I will advise members of the public to give information as much as possible to the police to help them in policing the society. Policing is community-based, because you cannot police the society without their consent. And when the people appreciate you, they'll be able to give you information. So I will advise members of the public to cooperate and collaborate with the police in ensuring that there is security in their area. And you know that without security, it is difficult for the country to go to anywhere. Security is related to development. Once there is security, investors will come. But once there is no security, investors will not come. So in the interest of everybody, in the interest of the society, in the interest of members of the public, it is important they join hands with the security agencies to police the society. That is the only way Nigeria can move forward. That is the only way there can be investors to come to invest in this country. That is the only way that there will be job for the teeming youth who don't have job. Because when investors do not come, there won't be job for the people. The government cannot employ everybody. So that is my message.
All right, and there you have it from AIG David Igbodo, retired. And of course, as Nigerians, we all have a role to play to make Nigeria work again. And then, of course, it's Hello Africa on Clearview Television. At this moment, we'll be going on a musical break. And when we come back, the show continues. And Prudence will be coming on set. And we'll talk about Kenya today on Focus on Africa. All right, so stay with us. Don't go anywhere.